in advance.
Welcome, everybody. Come on in. We are starting on time tonight. It's so good to see you, Robert. How you
It's good
been?
to see you too. How have you been?
I've been doing well.
I see
Good,
you doing
good.
your thing over there. I like it.
Thank you. You
Content
too.
providing good content for people to help us. So awesome.
Thank you. It's good to
Yeah.
hear. I want to give people what we really need and what we can really do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? What we need and can do. Get my incense going. I
Okay.
love
I was gonna ask what the smoke was. I'm in a whole different industry, so I had to ask. Could have been anything.
That's a legitimate question. The smoke is my incense. I
Okay.
always burn incense. I always burn a white candle.
Some
So
sage or just incense in general.
I burn sage when I want to clear the space, clear the energy, and invite new energy into the space. But you know what? My energy is good. I don't
There
always
you go.
sage because I keep a lot
Awesome.
of good energy around me. So
That's
I see
right.
people are coming in. Yep, that's right. That's right. People are coming in. Welcome in. Thank you. Thank you. We have a really great edition of Tuesday Talk coming up. As always, I have invited someone who lives this lifestyle and who is an expert in what it is that they do. Some of you may recognize him. Oh, there's my mom. Some of you may recognize him because he's been here before, and he's really good at explaining things. Robert and I went to college together, and so it's always great to reconnect with old friends. So when you come on in, let me know where you are. Let me know where you are so I can give you a little bit of a shout out. And I always am so grateful and thankful that people join me on Tuesday Talk and chime in to see what we are going to be discussing this evening. Come on in, come on in. I see some regulars on here. I see Jason Edwards, Hatep Peru Nabu, Joanna Jahi Adisi, Ankh from Columbus, Georgia, in our old stomping grounds, Georgia.
Georgia. Georgia on my mind.
I was just thinking that. Georgia. Is Georgia ever on your mind?
Often I go back and forth, and I'm about to get some more property down there. So
Okay.
yeah, it's great for farming.
It is. It certainly is great for farming down there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I see June Cleaver is in Connecticut. Glad to be here. My first time. Thank you so much, Miss Cleaver. So I'm going to have a few more people come on in before we get started.
Okay.
Tonight's Tuesday Talk is so pertinent and it's so right on time. I have Robert Gilchrist with us, and he has started a company called Let's Grow Inside. What do you think that means? What do you think he does for a living if it says Let's Grow Inside? Well, he's growing cannabis inside. And besides that fact, especially considering that cannabis is a newest industry that's very lucrative, the importance of being able to, number one, grow your own food, number two, understand the process of it, how to do it, when to do it, what your plants need, what your vegetables need in terms of light, humidity, moisture, soil nutrients, water, sunlight, temperature, all of those things. Reconnecting with your food is something that, in my opinion, reconnects you to yourself. It just does. It really does. I'm back in the gym hitting the weights. I did legs today. Today was leg day. And I'd been thinking about getting one of those prepared food services, where they just do all your food for the week and just send it to you. And I just said, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I want to actually do it myself because I want to connect to my own food and prepare my own food and season my own food. And in the process of doing that, you're able to look at whatever it is you have, whether you have chicken or mushrooms. Where did this chicken or mushrooms come from? Who was taking care of the soil? Who was taking care of the animal or the vegetables that are growing? How do I clean it? How do I cut it? How do I cook it? How do I season it? Which type of oil should I use? I mean, these are the questions that at least I go through. And some of those questions other people go through as well as you prepare your food. Which temperature should I use? Am I baking, boiling? The connection to your food just really connects you to you because it's the nutrients that you need in order to live and to thrive, right? Okay. So that was my reason to myself or for myself that I was going to make my own food and not do a prep service for my food. The other thing that I said to myself was this year I'm going to learn how to grow all of the vegetables that I eat. Now I live in the Northeast, whether I'm in New York City or Connecticut. It's not the total ultimate climate in which to grow, but you absolutely can. Okay. Robert can attest to that. We're going to get into a little bit of that later. So I set a goal for myself to grow all the vegetables that I eat. All the vegetables that I eat, I'm going to grow them and I'm not going to buy them anymore. So not only am I saving money and time going into the grocery store, I'm going to redirect that time to being outside, getting my vitamin D, getting my hands dirty in the actual literal soil, planting a seed or planting, little plantlets that come from growing from your seeds at first. Okay, so that's my goal. At the end of tonight, I want you guys to set a goal. How are you going to reconnect to your food? How are you going to reconnect to this very natural process, a very natural part of living, understanding your food? Okay. And without further ado, I'm bringing on, have tonight a friend who not only is growing inside, growing inside, growing cannabis, but he can cook, y'all. He can really cook. He throws down in the kitchen. He can cook. Part of the reason he can cook is because he's an alpha. And as y'all have heard me say, alphas think they know everything. I had to throw that in there.
Facts. Facts.
See, Jabari's an alpha.
He knows.
But the reality of it is when you are that involved with your food and you grow, there's a certain type of reciprocity that happens with growing your own food and then eating it. And we know that reciprocity and balance is one are two of the principles of Ma'at and laws of Ma'at. Okay. So I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna turn the mic over to Robert Gilchrist. Robert, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. And I mean, you pretty much gave my whole presentation. So thanks for coming, everybody. And, but you touched on some really valid points that I want to kind of like go back over, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And I'll start by using myself as the example. So I am currently a quasi carnivore, right? So I'm doing more plant-based a lot now. I still have a craving for some chicken wings and I feel like I can eat what I want. But here's the thing, when we talk about eating what we want, right? So your body is your temple. Your body is your temple. And how we take care of it is relative to what we put in it, right? You are what you eat, literally. So for starters, I want to make sure that you can, I'm not glitching out on you. Am I good?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So when we talk about the plant, right, we talk about all the nutrients that we put in this plant. So I have a curriculum where I teach people how to grow in the privacy of their own home. I teach people how to grow cannabis. I've taught people how to grow vegetables. It's the same principle. We teach people how to grow cannabis with this course and with this equipment that we have behind us. And we meet every Saturday and we walk you through it from planting the seed, propagating the seed, all the way to harvest, right? It's the same principle that you would have for your vegetables, for a tomato plant, for beets, for knowing what. So when we talk about this plant, let's get a few things as a fundamental basis for us, right? Plants uptake nutrients into their roots, into their system through the ground. So the nutrients are in the soil. The plant has roots. It grows down. It transfers the nutrients from the soil into the plant, and that's how it grows. different nutrients. So you hear like MPK. We teach all about the basic nutrients: nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, right? Calcium, magnesium. There's all kinds of nutrients and minerals that go into these plants to make them grow the way they grow optimally. The human body is no different, right? The human body needs nitrogen. It needs potassium. It needs phosphorus. It needs calcium. It needs magnesium. It needs iron. It needs all these nutrients and minerals. And you're not going to get them out of Kroger or Safeway or Winn-Dixie or wherever. As a matter of fact, if it's on a commercial and it's being advertised, it's probably not good for you, right? You don't. When's the last time you've seen a commercial that has a head of broccoli and just eat it raw, right? It's not gonna sell. So, but understanding the plant is valuable, right? Can I feed these plants? If I poured, for example, a can of Coke over the soil and watered my plant with it, would it die? No, it's not going to die. If I feed that plant a can of Coke every day for 7 days, it's going to die. So that's kind of my plug for any of the carnivores out there that want to still eat occasionally some chicken. It's not going to kill you. But if you eat something that's not good for you over and over and over and over and over, are you going to run optimally? No. That's why athletes, the Olympics, they're a very specific diet because they're feeding this body like a machine for it to run optimally. So when we talk about optimal health, now we're talking about growing things. So first of all, as a Black man, I know that my age group, I need to have more, for example, beets for those out there that might be suffering with hypertension, right? Obesity. There's certain plants that you feed yourself, it's going to start growing optimally. I said plants. There's certain nutrients that you put in your body that will make your body grow optimally. The same way we do here. The reason why our cannabis is so popular and so good and so loud and all that good is because I know how to manipulate the nutrients that I feed that plant at different stages of its growth for it to grow optimally. Now, applying that to myself, I stopped eating as much meat. I'm doing a lot of plant-based. So I'm big on like Beyond Meat, Impossible, whatever, all these plant-based that you're seeing popping up left and right. That's better for you than the carnivores, right? It's better. But I'm to the point now where I want to grow the nutrients and grow the plants in here so I can make my own Beyond Meat, right? So I can make my own plant-based. We did it the other night. We had I made a chicken, wasn't real chicken, but it sure tasted like it.
It was
I made a chicken patty out of vegetable protein and kind of doctored it up and cooked it in the kitchen and did all that. But all these things come from plants. So it's amazing, like the carnivores out there who have a slab of meat, you're using plants to season it. That seasoning that you put on it, all that is ground up plants. So you need plants to make your meat taste tasty. So so that's kind of the angle that we're going when we talk about growing our food, because we need to learn how to grow things that are beneficial to us. And really, if you can deal with the texture and the taste, doesn't matter what you're eating. You want it to taste good and you want it to resemble something that's going to satiate you. Plants can do that every day. We're talking about, so the next iteration of our course, we're going to teach people how to grow mushrooms in the privacy of their own home and other vegetables. So we're doing that. But there's certain lists, and I know you have probably a good list of everything that you can grow. Whatever you can grow outdoors, if you don't have the land, for example, because you need, back in the day, they used to dig trenches and plow field, and they'd plant, and before they drop the seed, they would dig a hole and they would take a fish head or fish guts and they'd throw it down in there, and then they'd plant the seed and cover it up. Why? Because fish, and that what's the word I'm looking for? Decomposes. Thank you. It releases nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, things that plants eat, right? So we're just simulating Mother Nature here in our studio, and we have a system where everything behind me, it looks big because it's big and behind me, but it's about the size of a queen size bed that can fit. Literally, when I first started, I had this garden in the same bedroom that I had my bed. It was a tight fit, but I was that committed to growing vegetables in the privacy of my own home so that I could teach other people. I had to first show that I could do it. So I've kind of
That's
mastered
right.
this process, and you don't need the big field. You don't need all that. You can do this in a small apartment. And that's kind of what we teach in our curriculum. Yes, we teach people how to grow cannabis because it's extremely lucrative. But what's about to be just as lucrative is learning how to grow your own vegetables, because if you are paying attention to the news, they're coming for us. They're about to take your vegetables, with whether it's the GMOs or whether it's, you're noticing now eggs are like the price of Lexus, a Lexus or a Benz. It's because they're slowly starting to have these trickle down effects where getting natural food is harder. What they want is the delivery of your food to your home, and it's not going to be healthy. And you all know that, just based on what I just said, if what you put in your body over time, it deteriorates you, then that's the angle. So learn how to grow your own food. And you can do it. You can use this space behind you to grow tomatoes, to grow cucumbers, to grow healthy things. So the first thing I hope we talk about, Si, is a list of foods that our people need, like the basics, the necessities that we need to have, and then learn how to grow it. Right? Because everybody knows, we don't even know how to cook it. We're still worried about what temperature, what is this vegetable? How do I cook it? How does it, because it's not coming from McDonald's, right?
Right.
So first,
Right.
before we even learn how to cook stuff, we need to learn how to grow it.
You know how to grow it. That's right. That's right. So one of the benefits of having to cook is you figure those things out along the way. So if you can learn so much from YouTube, and you see classes being advertised to cook to cook vegan food or plant-based food, vegetarian food. I see advertisements for learning how to can your food. There is a social media movement that is really teaching us what our great grandparents used to know, because it was passed down from parent to child, and it was just normal and common. It wasn't something that was so spectacular and special. It was just normal and common, and that was allowed. So those are the types of things that you do see that's available. So I have a pop quiz question for those of you in the audience. Who knows what heirloom means, and who knows what organic means? And is there a difference? And if there is, what is it? I'm gonna just let that's kind of a long question. What's heirloom and what's organic? That's easier. What is heirloom and what is organic? What does that mean? So I'm gonna let that question sit for a minute, and I'm gonna go back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to know that difference of heirloom and organic. I always wonder sometimes when you go to the store, because I'm one of those curious dudes. We go to Safeway, I've been to Kroger. I don't know where you guys are at, what stores you have, but they're all the same. You understand when you see fresh vegetables on your grocery market and they have the little mister thing, and they even have, it starts thundering and then it mists over your vegetables,
Right,
right,
right.
in the store. Those vegetables have probably been there for 2 weeks before it even got to that, there. So, and then it spent 2 weeks in the semi truck, and then it came 2 weeks from a farm that we don't know where it came from, and we don't know what pesticides they're putting on it, and we don't know what is, because some vegetables, like tomatoes, I literally will take it to the sink, take a little soapy rag, and I'll wipe out the outside and rinse it off. But you can't do that with mushrooms. You can't do that with porous
That's
vegetables,
correct.
right? Because
Yep.
it's so. But we don't know what pesticides, and even the tomatoes that I wash off. Have you ever had a tomato, you guys, and you cut into it? It's juicy, it's red, but it tastes like cardboard. It doesn't have any taste at all. And that's because they've been mass produced in some lab where, and that's not what we're doing here. Like, I've grown tomatoes in here, I've grown vegetables in here, and I've grown tomatoes, and you probably have in your backyard. If you have a patio, you don't need all this fancy equipment to grow, just so you know.
Right.
If you have a patio and then the sun hits it. But in this course, we teach you how to utilize the sun's natural rays to grow your food, and there is a science to it. But if you've grown stuff at home, that tomato, You notice the taste of the tomato that you've grown at home, even if you use Miracle Grow, which is crappy. Miracle Grow that they sell at Home Depot is not what you want to use in terms of amended soil. We teach you how to make your own amended soil. But if you're going to start somewhere, right? There's a lot of people that's going to tell me that Beyond Meat is crappy. It is. It's better than the riblet from McDonald's, so you start somewhere, but the plant-based movement and treating your body better is a movement. The best way to do it, start from scratch, grow it at home. Learn how to grow it. And when you taste it, and when you make that fresh salad that has cucumbers and peppers and everything, even if you make some plant-based meat substitute, it's way better and way cheaper than going to Kroger, going to Applebee's, going somewhere else and eating that processed food. It's way better for you. And your body will thank you. I know for a fact, like everything from bowel movements to you name it, if we just be in 100, because we growing here, right? Everything has been better once I started treating my body better.
So I'm going to jump in, and Robert just stole my bowel movement thunder because I was going to jump in and talk about BMs. So to go back to what one of the things he said, there are two things I want to focus in on or zoom in on for what he was saying. Your taste buds are acclimated to either healthy food or processed food. Now, my mom, she cooked everything fresh. She cooked every day. We were just talking about this tonight because I was talking to her tonight when I was cooking. She cooked every day. She wasn't big on leftovers, and everything was fresh. And for as long as I can remember, every time I ate, I would go to the bathroom, go number 2. You should be that regular. You should eat and poop in a cycle. When you are eliminating, it's not what you just ate, it's what you ate prior to the meal that you just ate. It's like a meal behind. Okay, that's why in the morning you should go number 2, because that's the meal you had in your body that your body was either digesting or getting ready for you to eliminate it in the morning. Okay, when you eat healthy foods, when you eat real food, when you eat leafy green vegetables, you will go number 2 regularly. If you are currently eating processed foods and you want to make that switch to natural foods and real foods, here are a couple recommendations and some warnings, okay? If you want to ease into it, that's fine. And then what you would do by that is just replace one thing over another. Like, for example, you might say, I'm going to stop eating fast food for 3 days a week. I'm only going to do 4 days a week. Taking baby steps, right? So maybe you replace frequency. Maybe you change locations. Maybe you say, instead of going to fast food restaurant A, I'm going to go to this mom and pop restaurant where, the people who own the place also cook the food, or something along those lines. You could do it like that. I personally go cold turkey. Years ago, a long time, and I always ate really healthy, but sometimes we eat things that are in a box, in a
Not
bag.
always. Come on, let's tell the truth.
I said most of the time. I didn't say always.
I'm playing with you.
So what I did was I threw everything away that was in a box, that was in a bag. I went cold turkey on the salt. I went cold turkey on the sugar. I went cold turkey. I'm not going to lie. I had a headache and I was annoyed. I was like, ugh. But I only felt like that for a couple of days. And then what you do is you either acclimate your taste buds to healthy food or you reacclimate it to healthy foods. Now, I just reacclimated it to healthy foods because that's how my mama raised me, right? If you continue along the path of eating healthy foods, your taste buds are going to be acclimated for that. And then over time, and not as long as you might think, you're not even going to want to eat processed food. You're not even going to want to eat bad food. And then if you crave it and you eat it, it's going to taste bad.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I used to like Taco Bell. I'm going to tell y'all my little dirty eating secrets. I used to eat Taco Bell. It was a cheat meal, and I used to love it. But then once I stopped and really was dedicated to eating healthy, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to get me some Taco Bell. It'll be okay. I would eat it. It was nasty. It tasted bad because my taste buds had changed. Then, my belly didn't like it. It was just a hot mess. Okay. Yeah. My recommendation is that you just go cold turkey, because going cold turkey, you get to feel the withdrawal symptoms. You get the headaches. You get agitated. And what that's saying to you is you had an addiction to this processed food. to the salt, to the sugar, and to the fat. You know why? Because salt, sugar, and fat taste good.
Yeah.
It tastes good in a processed kind of way, like being addicted to a chemical substance like a drug or alcohol. That's really what it is. So go cold turkey so you can really appreciate the process of detoxifying yourself from this. And when you substitute that with healthy food, you're gonna go to the bathroom. You're gonna go number two. You might get bubble guts, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen,
Well,
it is what it is, and it's something that we have to do. I'm gonna give you one easy slip in way to get into making that change. If you have this little spicy tea, you can put let me just do it even easier. Pick a tea that you like, get an organic lemon. Organic lemons help you go number two. Conventional lemons don't. I can tell the difference between an organic lemon and a conventional lemon because the conventional lemons have thicker skins and they don't help you go number two. They don't even taste the same. Organic lemons do. Like I said, I'm good with that, but I'm just saying, if you want a place to start, that's a very easy entry point. And then you'll really know, you won't have to believe, but you'll know that there is power in natural foods and you can start your journey right there.
yeah. Well, and something else to consider, like I told you, I'm transitioning from eating less meat, a real easy one that helped me, and hopefully I'll pass this on to everybody, the listeners, the watchers. It helps them. I try now to make 75% of my plate vegetables.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna eat meat, cool for now, and cool if that's what you choose. I believe you should do do whatever you want, but just understand how the body works and how it processes things so that when you're in your 60s and your 70s and your 80s, you don't want to die like Elvis. Elvis died on the toilet because he was so compacted that I mean, that's not what you want. Now, true, he was taking drugs so much that it really did that to him. But meat,
that can happen through food.
Yeah, it will. And on top of it, think about it. You mentioned sugar. Let's talk about remember Michelle Obama, one of the greatest first ladies we've ever had in this country. She was huge on healthy eating, right? She was big. Remember Michelle Obama with little one outfit on, and she was, oh wow, she's a fine first lady, and she was doing all the exercises with the kids, and everything was great till she tried to take sugar out of them schools. When she went after the sugar company, you stop hearing about all that healthy eating. They even shut her down. So there is a campaign against being healthy, right?
Absolutely.
And that's where the pharmaceutical company comes in. They don't want you. They want to treat you. They want to treat a disease. There's a reason why NyQuil was the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, stuffy ache fever, so you can rest medicine, right? If you look at the back of that bottle, it says it treats the following symptoms: runny nose, stuffy head, headache, all that. But it doesn't cure the problem. You want to cure the problem of getting a cold, stop running outside with your head wet, after you get out the shower or whatever.
Right.
You got to build your immunity system. But these companies out here are not designed to cure the problem, whether that problem is cancer or the common cold, right? They're there to make money off the symptoms and treating you. So we have to change that narrative and say, let's cure the problem. Well, the problem is what happens when you eat, a Popeye's chicken sandwich. It sits in your gut, goes through your small intestines. It sits there for a long time. Your body's trying to break down all the nastiness that not necessarily, for those carnivores out there, is not necessarily the chicken itself. It's all that they do to pump that chicken up to make it so big and flavorful.
It's
that your body has to process and break down. Your liver has to process it. Your kidneys have to process it, right? All these organs have to process this crap. And before you can even finish processing the crap, you put another one of them in your system.
It's
and
true.
It's overload. So what does your body do? It starts rebelling, and it comes out in your pores, and it comes out through your body. And so you have to understand how the pharmacology of your body works. It starts with what you're putting in it. It starts, if you want to know the outcome, start looking at the income, right?
That's
and so we're teaching in our course how to grow cannabis, but it's just as easy. You swap out cannabis with vegetables, swap out that with anything. It's the same plant, and it's understanding the science of how to grow that plant properly. Because the alternative is going to Kroger and picking it up in the little vegetable aisle and you think that it's healthy for you. And that's for the few people that decide they want to eat vegetables, right?
Right.
Most people aren't even heading to the vegetable aisle at Kroger or a grocery store. They're heading to the deli, or they're heading to the aisles that have all the boxes and the cans. And that's how we feed our families.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's convenient, right? But this is convenient too. You don't have to go outside and get a backhoe, and you don't have to get a mule. You don't need a mule to do this. You don't even need 40 acres. You need a space that's 8 feet by 4 feet, that space, which is about the size of a bed. And you need the knowledge of how to grow so that eventually in a few months, you can go here and get a whole salad. Even if it's a fried chicken salad, you're going to make your own chicken. I'm not suggesting you can grow chickens in this tent, but you can grow all the vegetables and everything else that goes with it. So now you're leaning towards a healthy diet, right?
Right.
And you're knowing what you're putting into your body. So even if you do go out and decide to have chicken wings, 80% of the rest of your diet is healthy, and you're going to live longer. Sai, let me ask everybody who's listening, and please put in the comment. When's the last time you've seen a 90-year-old obese person, 400 pounds,
Never.
90 years old?
Never.
You know why? Because they don't make it that long.
They don't make it there. They don't make it there because you've stressed every square inch of your body from the inside out, and your organs just give way, period. That's why. Your body is not designed to be that particular size. But before we go off a little bit, I want to kind of get back to what we should be growing and to answer the question of what's the difference between heirloom and organic.
Jason actually answered that in the comments.
Right. Jason said heirloom is a valuable object passed down through a family for several generations. And then organic means related to or derived from living matter. Now, so these are really great answers. And I'm going to show you how they're related to seeds. An heirloom seed means that it is non genetically modified organism. It's not created by man, it's created by the divine. And so it's heirloom because it goes back generations before there were genetically modified organisms or genetically modified seeds. So in the general answer, heirloom is a valuable object passed down through a family for several generations. Heirloom seeds are valuable objects that are passed down way, way back from many generations back. So that's what heirloom means. Organic means, and Jason answered, and it said, organic means relating to or derived from living matter. As it pertains to planting and seeds, organic means that it was not grown in any chemicals or pesticides. So basically chemical free. Okay. Now I'm going to be giving you general answers or general information, and you got to take it from there. And that's one of the reasons why I have Robert here. You can also DM with any questions, and I can give you some reputable sources. But those are the differences. But that is the difference between heirloom and organic. So right. I have some seeds sites that I have ordered from, or I'm going to order from. Either I've ordered or I'm going to order from them. And one is Melanated Organics. Cheryl, can you drop that in the chat? I'd like to look at some of the rest of the comments. Sanisi says Ankh Ma'at. Valerie says that she's learning her way in the garden. Yeah, because when my mom and I started gardening, you put it in the ground, eventually something's gonna come up. We don't have to overthink this.
But can I chime in on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So yes and no, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we teach in our course, so just to clarify, we teach you the pharmacology of this plant, right? we teach you, like, I can grab a plant. Let me do that real quick. Show you guys. Like, we teach you in our course. Oops. I messed up my equipment. All right. So we teach you in this course, like, how we'll take something from a seed. I don't know if you can see that.
We can see it. It's good.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a particular strain, right? And you see that says BGB.
It's good right there.
That's the strain that this particular plant is. This particular plant is going to be fed nutrients differently than the one next to it over there. I could grab it. But you need to know everything about the plant, right? So you know how to feed it. And this whole class and course that we're teaching can be applicable to anything, whether it's tomatoes, cucumbers. They all grow the same way, right? Understanding that is how you're going to determine the nutrients you give something. So if you give it the right nutrients, it'll grow and produce fruit that's going to benefit your body. So when you eat it, it goes in and it processes. Your body's like, ooh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy because you're not feeding it McDonald's. You're not feeding it crappy stuff. You got to give your body a chance to heal and take care of you, because this is the only one you get. This is it. And what happens is you get signs along the way. Starts with heartburn, starts with gas, it starts with all kinds of other stuff. What do? We go get some Tums. We go get something else, right? We shouldn't be doing that. We should be finding out what the blockage is and what's that, because eventually your body's going to get to the point where it's like it's not responding to you anymore because it realizes you're trying to kill it, and it's going to do exactly what you do. It dies. The same way if I keep giving this plant Coca-Cola every day, it's going to try its best to stay alive, but eventually that's it. And then you're a downward spiral. Now you're in a diabetes. I don't know if you even talked about that in your show, but what's the treatment for diabetes? Going to transfusions, and you go to that's a nightmare.
There's something that it's called when you dialysis.
Yeah, thank you, dialysis. When you go, that's a nightmare. That's a spiral that you can't get out of unless you're really serious. And how do you get out of it? The same way, if I got a sick plant that was on its last leg, the first thing I would do is cleanse it, right? I'd flush the plant. And then I start backfilling it with good stuff to offset the crappy state that it's in, right? Human body's no different. The way you're going to fix a lot of these ailments that you may start seeing and having is growing some good stuff. And you're not going to get that at Kroger. You're not going to get that at Winn-Dixie or what Safeway or wherever grocery store you're going to, because they are not your friend. They want you to not eat any of that stuff. Even their vegetables are crappy. But the vegetables are crappy than buying McDonald's. But the game is rigged against us. So the only way to fix it is you got to invest. The same way you invest in your physical body by going to the gym, the same way you invest in your spiritual body by going to church, the same way you invest in your mental body by going to the shrink. Your physical is the first starter. You got to change. You got to make a decision. I'm going to stop smoking. Is it going to be easy? No. Sugar is the biggest drug to kick. Right?
It really is.
Is it going to be easy? No. But if it was easy, everybody'd be living to 100. And it's not a big deal now, but it's a big deal when you can't breathe, when you use the bathroom, and all of a sudden now it's triage.
It's right. And we want to prevent triage and live a healthy life. And I'm telling you, it's a lot easier than it sounds. And yes, there is an uptick in terms of the curve to learn, but it's not that completely difficult.
No.
So I have a couple questions that I would like for you to answer, Robert. I have, what are your thoughts about worm tea for fertilizer and pesticide? Before you answer that question, can you define what is worm tea, what is fertilizer, and what is pesticide?
So worm tea is a generic name for Did you disappear on me?
I'm here.
Okay. Worm tea is a generic term for like compost tea, right?
Mhm.
So compost tea. So basically, when you feed plants, you feed it water, and you could go buy some Miracle Grow, which is your soil. It has nutrients embedded into the soil. You feed it water. The water mixes with the nutrients, and the roots absorb the water, and then it uptakes into the plant, right? So compost tea are things like bat guano, or and so we talk about, wow, bat guano, bat crap, right, or manure, or what are these things, and how does it transfer into the plant? Well, what happens is it breaks down in the soil, and the soil breaks it down through sunlight, through photosynthesis, and through other means, and it converts it into the nutrients that the plant needs: nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. So that's another way to infuse your plants. We teach that. I've taught how to make your own compost tea, worm tea. Worms themselves, when they break down and die, they decompose into some of these nutrients the same way fish does. So
Mhm.
you have to know, not necessarily breaking everything down, but you have to know why and what you're breaking down. And that's a whole science. That's kind of what we teach. But beyond that, if you just wanted to start by getting some Miracle Grow and growing a tomato plant, that tomato plant that you've grown with Miracle Grow is going to be better than the one you get in Kroger. It's going to be better because you're not spraying any pesticides. I'm in the cannabis industry, so I've dealt with people, and there's people out there who, there's predatory insects that get on the plants, just
Mhm.
like here. They could get on there, right? So maybe their answer is to spray Raid, literally, like spray Raid on the cannabis. It'll kill the weed, and then when you smoke it, you wonder why you high as a kite. It's because you're smoking insecticide. What's in Raid? I don't know, right? It's not good. I wouldn't want to smoke it. You wouldn't want to eat it. But I
Right. If you don't want to
guarantee
eat
there's
it,
farms out there right now that's spraying Raid on your tomatoes that you get out of Kroger. How would you know? How would you know? You wonder why your children may have ADD or whatever other stuff. It's not rocket science what we're doing. It's science, but it's not rocket science. But you do need to know what you're putting in your body. And just
right.
because it looks shiny and it looks all pretty when you see it in Kroger sitting, they have the little mist and the thunder sounds. When you eat that, what are you really eating? Do you know?
Right.
Do you
Right.
know?
That was one of the ways I posed the question for tonight. Like, do you know what you're eating? What are you eating? You know? Um, so here's another one that I wanted to address. Also, take the time to examine your poop. Example, shape, color, parasites. When I was a little girl, my mom told me, Saeed, when you go poop or number two or whatever she said, don't flush it, let me see it. So
Yeah.
my mom checked my poop when I was a little kid. She checked my poop. Thought that was normal. And because she checked my poop, I checked my poop. I still check my poop. And here's something that the information you get from your poop. Your poop should not be like this putrid, awful smell. Now, I'm not
Shouldn't.
saying I'm not saying that my poop is
Mine smells like Dracar cologne.
from the 90s.
Smells like, yep, Polo cologne.
Well, your poop might not smell like Dracar cologne, but it shouldn't really have a really bad smell. That's the first thing. The
Right.
second thing is the girth of your poop is the clearance passageway of your colon.
Mm.
So if let's say this is the size of a colon, and I'm just using this because this is the circumference of my fingers. All right. So let's say your colon is this big, but your poop is like this. That means that you have all the difference between this and this is impacted fecal matter. It's poop. You've got poop like
You got
remnants.
leftover. You got leftover
You
stuff
have
hanging out
leftover
there for
poop.
months.
That's right. And so the girth of your poop is directly proportionate to the girth of your intestines, the descending colon. All right. And the last thing that you get from your poop is the frequency of when you poop. Every time you eat,
Yeah.
you should poop.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So
Now
you've got
I will say
one
this.
quick thing. So
Yeah.
to sum up, you have the smell, the size, and the frequency. And and I'm not gonna tell y'all my age or anything, but my mama was doing all of this back in the day.
Telling your age by talking about bowel movements. First of all, we're on social media. We're at a stream where we're talking about bowel movements. So I could pretty much guarantee you everybody's age on this call.
Don't be telling my age, Robert.
Don't
Dad.
have to. Our subject matter is telling it. We're talking about bowel movements, which we
We're
should.
using, we're using the word bowel movements.
My daughter is not. My daughter is 20, and she wouldn't be on this call at all.
Talking about
She's
bowel
not
movements.
have nothing to do with it. But she eats very healthy.
Right.
She eats very healthy.
Right. Okay. So I hope y'all are taking notes. We're laughing about bowel movements, ha ha ha. But these are markers so that you can know what's going on inside your body, and what's going on inside your body is what you put in your mouth. The other thing is this: your armpits should not stink. If you're eating healthy food and you're eating organic food and you're working out and sweating and releasing, your armpits aren't going to stink. So if your armpits stink, you just do a little pit check, then that is really your body talks to you. Your body is telling you what's going on with you. If you have headaches when you stop eating the sugar, if your poop is thin, if you stink in the pits, your body
Your
is telling
skin,
you something's
your
going
skin
on.
is the biggest organ that you
That's
have. So when
right.
you have lesions or anything, your body takes in alkaline and it exports acid, right? So if that acid can't get out of your body fast enough through sweat, which is your pores, through poop, or through urine, those are the three ways your body eliminates anything, right? You
Right.
either sweat it out, you pee it out, or you poop it out.
Right.
If your body is overloaded in any of those, the only other place it tries to get rid of stuff through your skin. So you have lesions, you have acne, you have pore. That means that's an indication that you are too acidic, right? That's why we drink alkaline water. If you don't, you should. And we should take in foods that are alkaline when you eat them.
When you eat them. Right. Okay, I want to before I answer this question, Richard Sheffield, you said you missed the opportunity for initiation in December. We're still taking applications, so you can go to shrineofmaat.org and the applications are there. Okay. Healthy doesn't make, okay, no, that's not the one I was, this is the one where it said,
But healthy doesn't make money for them. Whoever said that was right. It doesn't. The whole purpose of them giving you these treatments like the NyQuil and everything is to treat the symptoms. They don't want you to not have the disease. Disease is a moneymaker. Cancer is a moneymaker. They got the cure for the common cold right now.
Right.
They released it. All these companies like NyQuil, like Comtrex, like Tylenol, all these companies will go out of business overnight.
Robert, but we're just gonna stick to growing the food.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So Matt Smith brought up a really good question that Robert and I talked about beforehand, because if you've got tons of money and tons of time and tons of land, you can grow tons of food. But what if you live in public housing? What if you live in public housing in New York City where there's not a whole lot of space? What if you live in just a regular old apartment and there's no land to grow anywhere? So he says growing your food is tough. Now, that is definitely true, but it's not impossible. Number one. Number two, it's worth it. And then it gets easier because then you get innovative with how and where you can grow. And you also can tap into farmers markets where you have an opportunity to meet people who actually grow their food. And some farmers will let you go to their farm so you can see what they're using. You can see what they're eating. They're pulling food out of the ground and eating it themselves. So those are ways that you can kind of make it a little bit easier. But before we just keep it general, Robert, can you kind of shed some light on growing your own food is tough, especially as it pertains to living in
Sure.
apartments?
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but like I said, I teach a curriculum on how to grow cannabis, swap out cannabis with tomato plant, right? Um, I have this particular setup that you see behind me in my bedroom, right? Being an NBA basketball player is tough too, but there's a whole bunch of people who are. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? So that's the first
Right.
thing. It's not as hard as you think. Everything is hard until you
Right.
know how to do it, right?
Right.
So everything, I mean, I teach people, I have a lot of single women, uh, and I point out the sexism to say that I got single women putting together this equipment by themselves with ease, right? And then I teach them step by step. So after the 16 weeks that they've learned how to do this, it's not hard anymore. Now they know.
Mhm.
Now they have the ability to grow anything. Anything. I've always said, Si, that I would never be homeless. If actually I've been homeless, if homeless means I don't have an address that's mine, I fit that definition before, right? I could be literally homeless in the street with the knowledge that I have. I would take a cannabis seed, grow outside, hang out for 2 months. I take the proceeds from that cannabis. Next thing you know, I'm in an extended stay and I'm shaving again and I'm back in the game.
Mm.
So, in terms of the money aspect and the difficulty aspect, you can learn this. You should learn this. Right now,
Yes.
it's convenient for you not to because you feel like you have choices. I don't have to do any of this stuff. I can go to Kroger. I can go to Safeway. I can get my vegetables. I hear what he's saying. I'll just shop organically and I'll do that. What happens when they stop putting vegetables out there? What happens when they stop doing that? And don't think that that won't happen. And it may not be, here's how it's going to happen. It may not
No,
be something
Jerry,
that happens.
Robert, let's just stay right on this topic. I don't want to veer into that space.
Okay.
Just
Well,
just to stay.
the space that I was taking it is
Mhm.
if food is taken off the shelves and you have to know what you're doing, what are your choices then, right? So you
Mhm.
have to start being creative and learning how to grow in the privacy of your own home. That's just the
Mhm.
future because you can't guarantee that fresh vegetables are going to be available to you. That was where I was going with it, but
Okay. So I have one of the websites, melanatedorganics.com. I've looked at the website. That's one of the websites that I recommended. Annie's Heirlooms. I'll put that in the chat as well because those are heirloom seeds, and Annie's has been around for a very long time. If anybody has has heard of Melanated Organics or Annie's Heirlooms, if you could just please put it in the chat. I just want to know if Annie's is big outside of the Northeast, because growing up, I always heard of Annie's. I had a question. Can you give the name of your course?
yeah, it's Let's Grow Inside. If you go to our website, letsgrowinside.com,
Hmm.
letsgrowinside.com, it will give you access to our particular course that we're teaching people how to grow in the privacy of their home.
I think it's Jason. Jason, can you drop the website Let's Grow Inside, and we can I'll highlight that. Jason is his middle name, so I keep calling him Jason. Sorry, Robert.
I was going to say which Jason are you talking about, but
I know, right? Um, have you tried the vinegar and water, neem oil, eucalyptus oil, for using that as a pesticide spray? Are you familiar with that?
so I've used neem oil. Um, I've not used, I think you said vinegar. I've not used that. I've used neem oil and a soap to make a natural pesticide. We
Mhm.
teach a little bit deeper than that in our course of
Mhm.
how to do preventative maintenance for pest prevention. Um, but I'm familiar with neem oil, right? Because basically the science behind that is the oil suffocates the oil, the combination of the oil, natural oil, and soap suffocates any predatory insects so that it doesn't survive and feast on your plant. Right.
Okay.
So we teach some of that natural, because what we're all about is not putting pesticides, onto the stuff that we put in our body. You can eat neem oil. The neem oil, you can ingest neem oil.
Right, right, right. So, Robert, can you show us your website? I want to show some of that because I know we.
Yeah, tell me how to do it. I'll do it for you.
So the other you have the other page up, right, with your website?
I do.
Yeah, and then there should be a button that says share your screen.
You would think.
I'm sorry?
I said you would think.
It's not there?
I mean, you mean in StreamYard?
No, on your page.
Well, I know how to go to my page, so I know how to do that.
Okay.
Wait, share. Am I putting the link somewhere?
No, it should say
Some back office stuff.
No. So I had technical difficulties last Tuesday talk. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure it out because I have the link where everybody should go. But there was a way we kind of did this before where we were able to share the screen.
Well, if you're in StreamYard, you can present. You go to present. I use StreamYard. You can go to present and share a screen, and you can pull it up on your end because you're the host. So I do know that.
I don't see it. I'm on my phone. I don't see it here. Darn
Oh,
it.
you're on your phone? Okay.
But
Yeah.
I have. Okay. Sorry, guys.
The workaround for that is everybody can remember this. Instead of let's go inside, it's let's grow inside.
Yeah.
And look it up, and there's the website, and you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, just for the viewers, what we do is we teach you. Over 16 weeks, we have a curriculum. So the first thing that happens is you order all the stuff that we have behind me. You can go to my website, the website letsgrowinside.com, and go to the equipment page. Order all this stuff. So you'll see we have a charcoal filter. We have self-watering pots, oscillating fans. We have a digital control system that's right above the camera that you can use. You buy all the equipment, then you pay for the course, right? And then we teach you how to put this equipment together. You can do this by yourself. I'll walk you through it. Then we teach you how to plant, literally buy the seed, plant it. We teach you how to propagate it. You take your pinky and you stick it, how far down. And then we teach you how the depth of where to plant the seed. And then the seed sprouts. And then this seed is going to go from this temporary home into the permanent home that you see behind me there. And then we have a reservoir where we feed our plants from the bottom, so we don't water it from the top, right? Feed it. We make the roots go find the water, and then we feed it from the bottom, and we feed it specific nutrients. And then we teach you how to grow this plant into this amazing, beautiful plant and create buds for those who are in the cannabis industry. For those that aren't, you learn how to grow fruit, those tomatoes, the zucchini, the peppers, the everything, with the proper nutrients in that fruit so that when you eat it, it's going to be beneficial to you. Not like the green peppers that you get at the grocery store because they don't have any nutrients because they didn't feed the plant nutrients. They just fed it so that it could grow and look like
That's right.
a pepper. But the nutrients that are in it, here's a perfect one, a freebie tip, a pro tip for people, because you said I like to cook, which I do. I used to have a restaurant, and I used to take natural vegetables and make them taste really tasty, right? Really tasty. So for those of you guys that like collard greens, love collard greens, here's a pro tip. Next time you get collard greens, you get the green, the leaf, and it has the stem, right? And what we do is we cut that stem out, and then we keep the leaf. Right? We cut the stem out and we keep the leaf. And then we cook the leaves. I'm suggesting that you take the stem, you don't throw it away. You take that stem, which is packed with nutrients, and you put that in your pot and you boil it for like an hour. You boil all those nutrients, and then you take those wilted stems, shake them out, and you throw them away. What's left behind in that water is the nutrients. We call it pot liquor. Your grandmama used to call it pot
That's
liquor,
right. That's right.
right?
Speak on it.
That pot
Speak on
liquor
it.
is full of nutrients that came from the stem. Then you take your smoked turkey or whatever you want to do, and you put it in there or not, and you take your leaves and you cook them, and then those leaves have now soaked in all the nutrients. So when you eat it, now you're getting the nutrients, not just the flavor.
And with that, we need to drop his Zelle and in the chat because that was a gem right there. And I remember,
My collard greens taste really good. You've had them, Si. Come on.
listen, I wasn't about to tell all of Robert's business. He's been a businessman. He's owned a restaurant. Robert can cook, and he's a great speaker. I've heard him give speeches, and I had a little crush on him at one point, but don't tell
Wow.
him.
This is my
And so,
first time knowing it.
and so, and we were on the phone talking one night. We would video chat, and because we're both talkers, so we want to see each other. And he was like, you had a speech, and he was like, do you want to hear it? I was like, yeah. And he was giving me this speech that he had given, and then he was like, you sure you want to hear the rest of it? I was like, yeah. And I just listened to him talk. Why? Because he can explain something very well by setting up a nice structure. It's almost like a table of contents. And then you get the speech, you get the information, and it makes a whole lot of sense. And I've seen the program that he has. I've seen other things that he's grown. He's shown me that he's grown in that particular or in those kind of spaces. Also, what he's grown outside. Robert has grown stuff in the brick winter or whatever
Yeah.
climate in the
In the
Midwest.
cold parts of Ohio.
Right, that's where he's from. So so one of the reasons why I had him back was because, listen, I'm from Connecticut. I live in New York City. I understand cold. And you want to grow in this cold. And you got friends who live in Miami and they grow big tropical Caribbean fruits because Miami is just a name, but it's in the Caribbean climate.
Correct.
It's one of the most northern parts of the Caribbean if you're looking at it just naturally and as far as those growing zones are concerned. Miami is the Caribbean. Connecticut ain't the Caribbean, but Robert can grow it in those spaces. So it's really worth it for you to take a look. Um, Thank you, Cheryl. Who was it? Matt Smith wants us to do a talk show together, you and me, so we can talk about some of the other topics. And Sinette Cheryl found this one. If you go back to the Shrine of Ma'at page and look for Tuesday Talk, April 18th, Robert was there. And in that, and Matt, I'm talking specifically to you and generally to everybody else. In that Tuesday Talk, we were able to see the grow inside. We were able to see some of the pages that he had. Okay, so I think that would answer, some of the questions that you had. Um, so I put up Annie's heirloom. I see we have Happy in the chat. We have Felicia in the chat. A quick sidebar that's very important. Happy Films is having a day of Black excellence this Saturday, and in Queens. And I'm gonna put in my affiliate link, or Felicia, if you could drop the affiliate link for me for that event. Kaba Khamenei is gonna be there. Riza Islam. We've got Kenneth. Did you know Kenneth? He pledged Omega at Clark.
Uh, I think so.
Yeah,
Red track, maybe. I think maybe.
yeah.
Maybe.
He's gonna be the moderator of the event. We've got did I say Kaba's gonna be there? It's really gonna be an amazing event. Grand Poobah and Lord Jamar are gonna be there. Abu Jamar from the Shrine of Ma'at will be there. I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be so much fun, you guys. So come to this event, and and we'll see you there. Here it is. Felicia said he played basketball too. Make your first Black History Month this year an epic event. Yes, join Happy as we celebrate a day of Black excellence in Queens, New York on February 4th, either in person or live stream. Okay. And Felicia said that he played basketball too. So it's the same, Kenneth. So yes. So anyway,
Yep.
so yes, guys, show up to that on Saturday. That type of stuff reaffirms doing what's hard, which is living a healthy, authentic self, and going to events like this where you see and you're around other like-minded people. I am surviving vegan. She's going to be there. I don't know her real name or her name. Um, uh, Orisha Oshun. She goes by that. She's going to be there. So that would be an opportunity for you to ask exactly, any questions you have. Oh, so to answer your question, Cynthia, I would have to look at the actual flyer to know, but you can be able to get that information of where exactly in Queens by going to the link that I've highlighted, and you'll be able to find it right there. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that question. I'm going to be writing in with a friend. Sorry. That's a good question though. So yes, if you want to see some of the other conversation that Robert and I have had, go to the April 19th, 2022 uh, Tuesday talk. So now, guys, I have a top 10 list of easy vegetables that you can grow and their nutritional value. Number 10, and this is in no particular order, cabbage. Now, cabbage was playing games with me, y'all. I'm not going to lie, because I would get the cabbage, but it was only like a couple heads of cabbage. And I felt like if this is going to be what I do all summer, I should have more. Okay. However, I did grow them. And the cabbage leaves, there are these big, beautiful leaves that grow up with the cabbage. And you can eat those too. They are so good. So I didn't know that until I first grew my cabbage. I'm not a big cabbage girl, even though I like Brussels sprouts, which I think are just mini cabbages, but cabbage. And let me tell you some of the benefits of cabbage. It fights inflammation, lowers blood pressure, and lowers cholesterol. Cabbage itself has vitamin C, fiber, vitamin K, and decreases inflammation. All right. Lettuce. You can grow lettuce inside. This is number nine. Number nine. I'm not that good at this. Lettuce has vitamin A. It's good for hydration, improve vision, and improve sleep. Now, lettuce isn't one of my go-tos for leafy green vegetables because it's really mainly water. And I grew the lettuce, and for me, I just didn't get enough bang for my buck. Other people I know love to grow lettuce inside. So I'm just sharing with you my own personal experiences with growing different veggies. All right. Then we had callaloo. The first year I started growing, I was in a community garden, and there was this woman who had a couple of different callaloo trees. Now, I'm Black American. I grew up in Connecticut. We didn't have callaloo trees just everywhere. So she was like, "Here, do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." So she pulls it up out of the ground and she gives me this callaloo plant, right? And so I bring it home, I put it in my back seat. The little plant shriveled up. I brought it to my garden plot. I planted it. It was still shriveled and wilted. And on day two, it was still shriveled and wilted. And on day three, it was still shriveled and wilted. But on day four or like five, it was like this. It had sprouted up and it had all these beautiful leaves. And I cut them, and she told me how to cut them. And then you have to cut it before it flowers. And it also blows, the seeds blow, and that's all they need. And then you just see callaloo plants popping up. So for I think about 2 or 3 years, I had callaloo, and then it just died, and then that was the end of that. So it was like a little mini experience with the callaloo. So callaloo, the benefits for that is it contains flavonoids, vitamin C, vitamin K, manganese, calcium, iron, and potassium. Number seven, potatoes. Man, these potatoes, they were playing with my emotions. Other people could grow potatoes, but I didn't. I don't even bother to grow them anymore. It would be easier for me to grow them in the cabinet underneath, like everybody else. Potatoes be growing, garlic, the little stems be growing. But with potatoes, you get a bucket, you put a hole in the bucket, and you cover, you put soil in it, you cover the potato, and then when you start to see little like roots coming up, you just keep covering it, and then the potato's supposed to get bigger, etc. Didn't quite work that way for me. I'm not a big potato girl, so I'm fine with it. The nutritional value for potatoes are multitude of vitamins and minerals, antioxidant that improves blood sugar control, and it's naturally gluten-free. Number six. Number six and number five, I'm going to do together. Number six is garlic. It's antimicrobial, antifungal, and it supports bone health. Onions, antioxidant, helps blood sugar levels, improves digestion, anti-inflammatory, and vitamin C. You can plant onions in the spring, and in that same space, plant garlic in the fall, like the second week in October or before the first frost. So that depends on where you live. In Connecticut, that's around October. And you can do that in the same spot. And just like what Robert was saying, you want to make sure that you have the nutrients because, like he said, the nutrients is sucked up into the plant, right? So you can use the same space for like 1 or 2 seasons, then you have to replenish that nutrients in the soil, all right? And the good thing about onions and garlic, you plant it and you leave it for the season, and you get it at the end of that season. Same thing with garlic. You plant it and leave it. Okay, it's a really easy way to start growing, so you can learn how to reconnect to the soil and growing your own food and learning how to weed and just just understanding what goes in your soil and seeing the worms and seeing the sun and getting your vitamin D. And when it rains, it means something to you because your plants are getting watered. You'd be surprised how just connected you are planting something that you don't even really tend to. Like if you do onions and garlic, how it just it just reconnects you. Once you get reconnected, you really can't go back because you realize how good and nourishing it feels to your own soul. Okay. All right. Tomatoes, number 4. Antioxidant. It contains lycopene, reduced risk of heart disease, vitamin C, vitamin K, and folate and potassium. If you're planting tomatoes, make sure you have some kind of you need a tomato cage, and you might need some kind of mesh around it to keep the little pests away, the little chipmunks and squirrels. One season, the chipmunks kept eating my mama's tomatoes. She was mad at those chipmunks. So you have to protect your tomato cages because tomatoes, when they're natural, are nice and sweet. All right. Number 3, peppers. You can grow jalapeno peppers, hot black peppers. There are the Scotch bonnet peppers. Scotch bonnet peppers are really hot. You probably only need one, and you can just get a little piece, and that's all you need. Or you can grow bell peppers. All right, you need pepper cages to grow them, and some of the nutrients are with red bell peppers. They're high in vitamin A and the highest in beta carotene over the other peppers. So red gives you more than orange, which gives you more than yellow and green, which basically don't give you that. Okay, so get the red and the orange ones. Number 2, spinach. For spinach, okay, oh wait, here we go. Let's go inside. There we go. For spinach, it has carotenoids, vitamin C, vitamin K, folic acid, iron, and calcium. Personally, I don't grow or cook spinach anymore because spinach will be all huge and big, right? I'm trying to get in the camera. And then when you either boil it down or put it in the food that you're cooking and just let it steam, it just wilts away. And I'm all about bang for my buck. But spinach is very easy to grow. It's very easy to grow. And there's also vine growing spinach. Okay. Very easy to grow, very good for you. But I eat collard greens and kale. Those are my jams because just like what Robert was saying, there's nutrients in the leaf, there's nutrients in the stem. You can make that broth. My great grandmother used to do the same thing. All the good stuff is in a pot. So I heard that from her. So spinach has, I said that already, but I'll say it again: carotenoids, vitamin C, vitamin K, folic acid, iron, and calcium. And last but not least, kale. Okay. Kale and collard greens. They have carotenoids, vitamin C, antioxidant, and protect cell damage, protect your cells from DNA damage. Okay. When you grow, and they're easy to grow, when you grow them and you see these big, beautiful leaves just bursting up with the sun and all of that. Listen, let me tell you something. It's a feeling that you will love and you won't forget that feeling, and you're going to want that feeling again, just really interacting with nature. Okay, so that's my top 10 of healthy vegetables to grow that are very easy to grow. All right, you can grow onions, garlic, peppers inside, you can grow lettuce inside. um, you can grow anything inside, quite frankly. But if you're living in an apartment and you have a windowsill, you have a ledge, you have a balcony, you can grow off the sides of the balcony. And if you're growing onions and garlic and peppers, you're not going to attract animals because they don't like that stuff. Those are the ones that they don't like. All right. So those are my suggestions. I hope that you guys, can just give it a try and let me know. Robert, are you back?
I'm here. I hadn't gone anywhere. I'm here.
Okay. Yep. I'm back.
No, I was just giving you your time. I would add for black men, beets, easy to grow. I've grown them right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Windowsill of a balcony, you can grow beets. They're excellent for blood pressure. Not just men, I should say men and women. If you have blood pressure issues, beets are natural blood pressure reducers. I'm on blood pressure medicine. I've cut it in half twice. So the next time I go to the doctor, he's gonna be like, "You don't need it," and I'm gonna blame that on. I'm gonna give the praise to God for one, but then I'm gonna say it's Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger. But I'm joking. But the real attribute is because I switched from all these things that are bad for me, or I'm switching from all these things that are bad for me, and because you can't grow. I can't teach people how to grow this stuff and grow vegetables in my garden and get healthy without passing it on and feel good about making money and charging people for it, right?
That's right.
So I have to do when you're young, you think about making money, making money, making money. At least I did. As you get older, you think about helping people, helping people, helping people, and the money will come. God, Allah will bless you. Whatever higher deity that you attribute to will help you. The universe will help you when you start changing the way you think. And if you change the way you eat, it will help change the way you think. It starts with
That's
this,
right. That's right.
making that decision. Say, you know what? So after watching this, I'm gonna do one thing, do something, one thing. If not, you're silly, right? Do one thing to better yourself today. If it means I'm not gonna eat white rice anymore, don't go extreme like side, just go cold turkey. Everybody can't do that. But you can stop eating the chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
Yep.
You can pass up McDonald's and you can go to the store and you can learn how to cook something plant-based. And then you'll graduate when you start doing that and you're feeling better. You're gonna start saying, well, I want to grow my own stuff.
That's right.
It starts right here to transform this right here.
Yep. That's right. That is so right. Thank you,
At least
Robert.
that's what I did. That's my testimony. And that's why I created a whole business. I was in politics. We were doing big things. I still am. It's just a different focus. My big thing is about self-knowledge. There's three parts to who you are. There's the physical, which we can take care of. There's the mental, which we can think about. And then there's the spiritual. They're all connected. And this is the time that we got to start doing it.
That's right. That's right. And honestly, guys, I don't bring just anybody on Tuesday Talk. I do my investigative work before I even send out an invitation. So
you did. I was wondering when you were going to get to me because I see you. You're doing your thing, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm nobody. We've known each other a long time. This is like my little sister. I guess I'm nobody. But maybe now she thinks like we're getting there because she wants to be. But no, and I'm joking. But I will say this. You are very critical of what you put out. And I've been watching you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because I see what you're doing. You're not just out there like most people for the likes and stuff. You could care less about that. You care about the content you deliver.
That's right.
Which is the only reason why you can call me and be like, I got you anytime. Because we're on the same page. We're talking about healing self and growing within. This is the part of who we are. We're supposed to be growing up, right?
Yep.
Part of growing up is not just physical. It's mental and spiritual. but how we treat our physical being, which you only get about 80 ticks on this planet, give or take a few years. This is going to leave us, but we can keep it here as long and optimal as we want. It just depends on what you feed it.
That's right. And one of the things you said was, referencing the soul and the spirit. I started gardening. It was so I lost my cousin in 2013, my aunt in 2014, and my dad in 2016. So from like the time frame of 2013 to about 2019, I have memory gaps and some memory loss because of the trauma that I experienced. I started gardening around 2014 or 2016. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was 2016 after my father died. I don't know. But part of the reason that I started gardening was because I needed something that was peaceful and something that was natural and reconnected me to like a sense of nature. And gardening gave me so much peace. It really helped in my mourning process to continue to mourn and grieve, and also to heal whatever trauma you're facing, or you have faced, or probably need to face or should face. I'm not saying this is the therapy you need. I am saying this could be part of it. It was a part of my therapy, and it opens up a side of you that's been dormant and purposely damaged, but not irreparably. You can repair that. You can learn it. You can return back to this knowledge. Black people, listen, the first farmers on the planet were us. The first hunter gatherers on the planet was us. Were us.
Praise.
You know what I'm saying? The first biochemists were us. The first people, the Hapi, and then we can bring it on back to Hapi. Hapi, the river, and Hapi, the movement. Okay? A whole civilization started around this river. And how were people eating? They weren't going to grocery stores. They were living on the land naturally. They were able to live and work around the inundation. It wasn't called this great flood and disaster. It was called the inundation because we knew how to work with it. We, Black people, we knew how to work with nature and thrive and build monuments that still stand to this day. So people who are like, well, I can't grow it. Are you kidding me? You come from the original growers. So yes, you can. I'm gonna leave this one last example, then I'm gonna give.
Wait. I see what you just try to do, because see what Sai does is she will drop all this knowledge and then she's gonna end it on a high note. Nope, because you started something, you said something that was so profound.
Mm-hmm.
Like you started a whole discussion because it's really understanding like who we are.
That's right. That's right.
As a people, right? So much stuff happens. If you turn on the news every day, so much stuff is happening. Forget the Tuskegee experiment. Go deeper to the psychology of, if you were going to try something out to see if it was going to be successful or not successful, who are you going to try it out on? Who, out of all the races, who is the one that you would say, if they can handle it, it's golden, right? Whether it be disease to test to see how we are, whether it be resiliency, whether it be, so when we talk about original, right? How many things that we do today have been taken from us as if, and we act as if like it's new. We created it.
Thank you.
Took it from us to make it the popular thing, whether it's the sewing machine, whether it's the light bulb. I found this outside. I'm sorry to be long-winded. I know you got a time limit, but I'm gonna tell you this. I saw where just recently they created a filament for the light bulb, right? Originally to last 100 years, but they purposely, it's actually harder to create a filament that only lasts like 2, right? Because they want us to be slaves. They want us to do this. And I'm in the cannabis industry, so I see it from this angle. They want us to be the consumers of cannabis. They want us to go to the dispensary and buy it and smoke it, But they don't want us, and when I say us, I say all of us, right? Go to the bank and they'll give you a loan for anything that puts you into debt. They'll give you a car loan, a house loan, anything that they put you into debt. Go to that same bank and say, I want to make something. I have a business where I can make something, right? And you black, and watch what they do to you. I know, for example, because of the cannabis industry, there's very few of us that look like this in this industry because they don't want us to be manufacturers. They don't want you to take your own health into consideration.
That's right.
They want you dependent on things, and that's fine. That's the angle of just business structure 101 without any kind of, just look around. If it's advertised, it's not good. What they don't want you to do is to take the knowledge to say, I'm no longer going to be dependent on what you guys are going to feed me. I'm going to take my life into my own hands. That's the first thing they don't want you to do. So they're going to try to make it difficult. You won't see advertising for that. You're going to be underground. It's going to be groups like this that just, the game is dropping because the internet changed the game. Now we can meet. Nobody knows. Before we had to like go to a meeting hall and then they could, now it's different, right? You can get the knowledge, but it's still up to you. So you have freedom of choice. You can say, I choose to get this information and not do anything with it. Or I'm going to do something about it and I'm going to take my life into my own hands. Because make it clear before we get off this chat, your life is in your hands. You have the choice to either grow and eat and be healthy as you possibly can, or continue down the road that you're doing. That's the choice. But you're getting knowledge, you're getting the game, firsthand. And like you said, Si, and I'm done. It starts with you just making a choice and saying it starts with you. Like you said, I decided I'm going to do something different. All we're doing is giving you testimony.
That's
how
right.
The bowel movements are better, to how the life is better. I'm thinking clearly. I'm making better decisions. Or you can do it the way we've been doing it. And then we go to them to say, I'm sick. How do I get healed? Well, what you think the answer is? Take this. But it's only, don't worry, your deductible will take care of it, or this, that, and the other. Or if not, it's only $59.99 a month or whatever. Now you're in somebody's pocket. And that's the game. You get out of the pocket by doing this. And it does take some skill set and some knowledge, but the game is being given to you. So this is the part. Starts with a thought, change this. Thanks, Si, for having me. I love you. You're great.
I love you too.
The show is great. Everything you're doing is awesome. And I hope you continue to just keep giving up that knowledge in your Tuesdays talks and you get people in here because you've given up the game.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot from OG like Robert.
Hey, semi-OG, because I eat healthy, so my age is relative.
That's true. He's just said he said he fine. He was like, hold up, but I'm fine. So what you talking about? That's what that was.
Thanks.
So I said earlier in Tuesday talk, excuse me, that I had a goal for the year. And for this year, I'm going to make sure that I grow all the vegetables that I'm going to eat. So therefore, I will only eat the vegetables that I grow. Why am I starting with vegetables? Because it's easier to grow vegetables in the Northeast than it is to grow fruit. And I haven't really grown a lot of fruit. So that's one thing that I'm going to learn next year. And why am I saying next year? Because I want to get my vegetables down. Because once you're growing them, how are you preserving them? You can freeze them. You can can them. You can like suck the air out of them in a little bag and store them. Those aren't the right.
Dehydrate them.
Thank you. Thank you. You can dehydrate them. So those are 3 different ways that you can store them. So I'm going to focus on vegetables that I grow and how I'm going to store them. That's what I'm going to focus on. I'm also going to focus on.
And everything you mentioned, you can grow in a setup like this. You can grow kale, Swiss chard, spinach, beets, tomatoes, cucumbers, very healthy for you, cucumbers. Peppers, green peppers. You can't grow an avocado tree. Come on. You can't grow oranges because they're trees. But this but there's so many nutrients you can grow that's ground level to your shoulder. You can grow in here.
Right, exactly. And Robert is 6'5", so his shoulder is
Yeah.
it's over 5'4" because I'm 5'4" and a 6'5" man's shoulders is above my head. I already know that.
Yeah.
So you got a whole lot of space to grow up.
I can stand up in this.
Right.
But again, it's only 4 feet deep and 8 feet wide. So it's like standing up on your bed like you were a little kid. That's
Right.
pretty much the space. You got that in your apartment. And if you don't, kick out the roommate and put this in there. Your life depends on it.
And
This
then
is easy.
and to make some money from it to replace that roommate
If
rent.
you want to grow what we're growing, you definitely would kick your roommate out. I mean, your roommate's not going to give you $5,000 a month. That's what we can do. But that's, if you're interested, go to our website, letsgrowside.com. We'll show you the way.
And also make sure you have a license, because I ain't trying to get nobody locked up.
You can go to our website and we have on the front page is a map of the United States where I keep current, because I live this life. So I'm about that life. I'm always I'm preparing for a TED Talks. So these things like the legality, I will tell you this before we close. What this industry, the cannabis industry, is the closest thing to the gold rush in the turn of the century. This is an industry that's being created as we speak. Laws are being written right now. Their legislation is being drafted, everything, and it's not designed for us, for Black and brown people to benefit from. They want us to be the consumers.
Facts.
The consumers, not the manufacturers. The money's in creating it. The money's in the knowledge. The money's in everything, but it's not from being the consumer. It's no different than the plantation. And we talk about our history, slavery, that's what this was. I mean, it was slavery. That's what we're in. That's why we go to the 9 to 5s. I'm sorry, you have to get me on for the history talk so we can talk about really like our history, because I do that too. I mean, but freedom looks like creating something like this that can pay my house note and my car note. And knowing the knowledge of this is a goose right here, and I'm just teaching you how to lay golden eggs. So for those that have ears, let them hear, and check out our website, letsgrowside.com. We'll show you the way. That's my self-plug side. So thank you for having me.
All right. I want you to know that Robert does know what he's talking about in a lot of ways. Like I said before, in the business aspect, in the growing aspect, and also in making food. And that's the whole total combination of what this is, from seed to poop, basically. From the seed to the plant to eating it for pooping out. That's the cycle. And then the poop is like fertilizer, and the cycle begins all over. So at this point, you guys, what is your goal for this year? What's your goal? How are you going to reclaim our knowledge? Because we did this first. We ain't new to this. All right. And we are remembering, we are putting ourselves back together. And part of that is the knowledge. So set a goal, make that goal, and get started. And you can reach out to me at Yoga Girl Sai, and I can help you. I can help answer any questions. I can redirect you to Robert or anyone else that I meet that's an expert in the field. Or if I know the information, I'll share it with you as well. I'm going to update the flyer that I put out on the advertisement, which was on the Shrine of Ma'at Facebook page, Shrine of Ma'at YouTube, Yoga Girl Sai YouTube. Please subscribe to Yoga Girl Sai, and give me like 2 days to do it, 48 hours. And I will update give me at least 48 hours, or at most 48 hours, rather, at most. And I'll get that done for you. This is a very, very powerful lesson. Take your food and your health in your own hands. And I will say, one of the things that's really good that we need is circulation. Beets are good for circulation, circulating that blood, circulating that oxygen. That is what we need for our vitality, in our lives. I'm going to tell you like this. Abut Seshat people think I'm 15 years younger than I am. And that's on my bad days. I be like, hell yeah, I make me feel good. Why? It's because of what I eat. Okay. As with Black folks who got melanin. So we all have that, right? How are you taking care of that? Okay. So set your goals, reach out, ask questions, and I will see you next Tuesday. And I want to thank you so much for supporting Tuesday Talk and for showing up every Tuesday. And I really, truly don't take it for granted. And I appreciate it. Please, let's hit up his Zelle. Can we drop the Zelle one more time? I'm going to leave it highlighted. We have Let's Grow Inside. I'm going to put that up. And let's drop that Zelle. Let me see. It was up here earlier. You know what I'm going to do?
I'm so glad we can share this knowledge. That's so deep.
That we
That's
do what?
so important. Just sharing the knowledge is so
It is.
important.
It's like
That's so
it's a family combo.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna let everyone go. I appreciate your participation. I'm going to put his Zelle and information in the updated flyer. Okay. So I really truly, oh, here it is. Boom. Thank you, Jason, to the rescue. There it is. I'm gonna leave it there. Let's hit the brother up. We appreciate this knowledge, peace, and blessings to you all. Hotep and Myrrh, peace and love. And I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you.